Hello. So in this writing notes video, we're going to talk about a grammar and mechanics issue, which is capitalization. So the rules of capitalization in US English, which is what I'm primarily going to be talking about, are generally pretty straightforward. Basically, capitalization can be used in two broad ways. One is to indicate the beginning of a sentence, and the other is to draw attention to something specific, like a title of a work. So when we're talking about the beginning of sentences, the rules here are generally quite easy, which is that the first word, and the third is proper nouns. So when we're talking about capitalizing at the beginning of a sentence, the rules are pretty straightforward. The first word in a sentence generally should begin with a capital letter. There are some very, very vanishingly rare exceptions to that, like if the first word in your sentence is the name of someone who chooses purposefully to have their name uncapitalized, like the scholar Bell Hooks, who uses lowercase b and lowercase h, you would want to respect that scholar's decision, that person's decision, and begin with a lowercase letter. But generally speaking, in almost every other circumstance, the first word of a sentence is going to be capitalized. The first letter of the first word of a sentence is going to be capitalized. Now, I think in some usages, not in typical US usage, but I think sometimes in UK usage or Commonwealth English, you will see people who capitalize the first letter of the first word after a colon. So that is something that people do, but in US usage, it's not standard. That would be unusual in US usage. So that's the basic sort of use of capitalization. First letter of the first word of a sentence. The second that I'm going to talk about is actually proper nouns. Proper nouns generally get capitalized. So what counts as a proper noun? Well, a proper noun is a name for a person or a thing. So if you were to spell out my name, the way that you should be seeing at the bottom of this video right now, Phillip Zapkin, capital P, capital Z. That's pretty straightforward, again, except for a very small number of people who prefer that their names go uncapitalized. Bell Hooks, again, lowercase b, lowercase h, that's a decision that Bell Hooks has made, and so you as a writer, I as a writer, should all respect that and write her name lowercase. We also have things like locations are proper nouns. So I live in Bellefonte, Pennsylvania. So Bellefonte gets capitalized, capital B. States, Pennsylvania will get capitalized. Also acronyms for proper nouns, for names of things. So, or abbreviations. PA, for instance, for Pennsylvania, capital P, capital A. FBI, for Federal Bureau of Investigation. If you spell out Federal Bureau of Investigation, capital F, capital B, capital I. If you do the acronym FBI, capital F, capital B, capital I. So this is the kind of thing that we're dealing with here. When you are giving something a proper name, capitalize the letters, generally speaking. The other option, the other reason you will likely use capitalization is for titles. Titles of books, articles, scholarship, whatever it is. So right here you can see the title of an article that I have published. You can, as you see this, you'll notice that the first letter of each important word is capitalized. So things like of, and, the, if they're in the middle of a sentence, don't get capitalized. But first letters, generally speaking, of important words, words that are unique or central to that title, will get capitalized. Now, I think in APA format, which I'm not 100% sure about because I don't really use APA, but I think in APA format, they actually don't do that. MLA and Chicago-style citations do that, as do, I think, Harvard and, I think, Oxford citations. But APA, I believe, is different. Don't 100% take my word on that, because, again, I'm not an APA person. But I think that for APA, the titles of, it's only the first word, and then if you've got a colon in the title, the first word after the colon, I think, are the only things that would normally get, other than proper nouns. So if you've got a person's name or the title of a book, a play, a movie, whatever it is, that would get capitalized properly. But everything else in the title, I think, would be lowercase, like a regular sentence. So the title for my essay that I showed you before, in APA format, I think would be capitalized like this. So that's generally what you're looking at with capitalization, is the first letter of the first word of a sentence, proper nouns, and titles.